My name is Justin Carter, and I'm a pastor, and I like to hunt, do any kind of hunting. Right now it's rabbit season, so I like to rabbit hunt. And I got one good dog and one learning dog, and so we've been having a good time. And I think what Troy and I have been talking about lately, about the joy that these dogs get out of hunting, I think it does relate a lot with our lives as a Christian. I think it does that because, number one, they do get into some hard stuff sometimes. It's not always easy, but they're committed to it. But also, they have a joy for it, I think, is the biggest part that you see from rabbit dogs. They have a joy for what they do. And the most excited, happy you see them is when they're running a rabbit, when they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And definitely that ought to be us as Christians. We ought to be most excited when we're winning people for the Lord. And sometimes it's not a win. Sometimes these dogs get on a rabbit and they lose it, but they still had a good time doing it, and they go back and they look for another one. And sometimes we don't always win the loss. Sometimes we just have to nudge them. Sometimes we just have to love on people. Sometimes it takes a long time. It takes a whole long time. And so I think that relates a lot with rabbit hunting too, and you learn a lot from it. From watching the dogs and how they always go back. They never quit. They never stop. They don't get tired. They can run all day long, and they still want to do the same thing. And so I think that ties in a lot with our life as a Christian as well. But I think watching these dogs, if you can get inspiration out of it, it ought to be from the joy they have. It ought to be the same joy we have in sharing Christ with people, and not only sharing Him and trying to win people. We don't always win, but sometimes we can nudge people towards Christ, and it's just as much of a victory.